Hi everybody. I wanted to introduce to you Balasana, also known as child's pose. If you have issues with the knees, then you're probably not going to feel super great going into the more traditional variation. So keep watching and I'm going to show you what to do to help support your knees. First things first, if this feels uncomfortable for you sitting like this, you may want to bring a blanket down beneath the legs, especially for the top of your ankles. Actually, maybe we'll open this one more time. Okay. So now we have cushion under the top of the ankles, along the shin bones. This is going to be so much more comfortable for you here. You can do child's pose a couple different ways. So the first variation is keeping the legs closer together. What happens is when you start to lean forward into your child's pose, having the legs closer together creates a nice stretch along the whole length of the spine. The forehead comes down to the ground. Another variation of child's pose is take the knees hip distance or even mat distance apart. And when you take the knees wider apart, you'll notice that the belly can sink through the space of the legs. It can be soft, which in turn helps to relax the low back. So this is more of a hip opener than a spinal stretch. So that's the difference between the two variations. One thing that's really nice about having the legs a little bit closer together is that if you didn't want the arms out forward, maybe that's creating a little bit too much strain through the neck and shoulders, then you can have your arms reaching back by the heels. So a good way to approach this is first press down through the palms of the hands so the sit bones start to tilt down towards the heels, forehead to the mat. And then you're going to reach the arms back and hold onto the heels so that the shoulder blades can fall apart. That's where you send your breath, is into the space between. Now let's say that your head doesn't quite reach the floor. If the head doesn't quite reach the floor, then you can either stack your hands and make a pillow. You can stack your fists and make a pillow. Or you can even use a block. So those are some different variations for child's pose. Now, if your knees are a little bit achy and you need to create more space in through the kneecap, then you're going to take this blanket and you're going to bring it all the way up to the crease behind the knees, in between the calf and the hamstring muscles. So you'll come forward and you'll pull the blanket all the way up. So that the bones that form the joint of the knee now are slightly separated and it takes the strain out of the kneecaps. You can also take the blanket and fold it one more time underneath so you're sitting a little bit taller. The knees come slightly apart and then you find any variation of child's pose. Now let's say that this still doesn't feel really very good for the knees. Maybe there's an injury that you're working through and you know that you need to be careful in your body. Then we're going to take child's pose in a supine variation, which means laying back. There we go. And then navel draws in. Knees in like this. You can either press or behind the legs, behind the thighs. And you can hold here. And this could be a modified child's pose. So hopefully you can find one that works for you. I hope that you enjoyed that tutorial. Have a wonderful day.